I'm Mike.
And I'm Adam.
And this is Stuff and Waffle. Two friends talking about stuff, and often as not, waffling with frequent reference to Bond cars.
Right, I was going to come immediately in here and sort of hit us with some proper car news, but then in the split second, I realised housekeeping first.
Oh, well, it's important that we do that.
It is important. I mean, you remember last week we discussed, off of the back of the Oasis news, the cars of the Gallagher brothers.
Oh, we did, yes. And we were quite impressed.
Yeah, we're quite impressed. So what I'd actually like to do is just steer it a little bit back to the Oasis news itself, and me announcing that I was going to have a bash, getting some tickets.
Oh, yeah, that's escalated this week, hasn't it?
Yes, it has. So
that's all got a bit controversial all of a sudden.
Yeah, that all kicked off, that didn't it? And just to pop a bit of petrol on that fire, I did not get tickets. I was caught in this nonsense as well.
Well, I believe the Competitions Commission have opened an investigation into them at this point. So yeah, it's all got a bit serious all of a sudden.
It was, and I choose my words very carefully, an utter shit show.
So I have read. Yes, somewhat spoiling their return.
Yeah, let's face it, I got up early on Saturday and I got myself in quite a strong position.
Yeah, it's that kitchen chair you've got.
It's very robust.
Yeah.
So, no, I thought, sorry, let's get on there early. I know this is not my first rodeo. So by the time I got on there early enough to not even have to queue to get on the website. So I got to the date that I was most interested in, and I got myself on the right place so that when the countdown finished and the 9 a.m. kicked off, I was where I exactly needed to be and didn't have any of the scrabbling around. And I picked a Wembley date. And you think Wembley holds an awful lot of people.
It's quite big.
Yeah, and I wasn't overly fussy whether it was standing, seated. I was just kind of I knew it was going to be busy, so I was like, you take what you get kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I joined the queue. It started as 20,000. So 20,000 people in front of me.
Okay, you're all right there, the queue then.
I mean, granted, not the head of the queue, but in terms of going, well, venue size versus people in the queue, even if people are buying multiple tickets, the maths kind of in my favour.
Yes.
Just there should be something left.
Drag, maybe? Yeah.
So 3 hours elapsed of me keeping an eye on it and going, oh, look, I've made it in. And they go, oh, which tickets do you want? And there was a selection.
Yeah.
And every time I was like, well, I'll have some of those. I'm like, no, can't have those.
Right.
Then why on earth would you offer them to me?
So are you seeing the sort of edges of this controversy that's blown up? That they were not being entirely, what's the word?
Transparent?
Yeah, that's a good word. Yes. Let's say that. Yes. So,
yes, there I am led to believe there are tickets left, which known to be horseshit. Then you've got this whole they labelled it on the website as in-demand pricing. So that's an excuse for people want these. Let's jack these little fuckers up. We'll make a mint here, boys.
Oh dear. Yeah, and this is why they're probably going to be in quite a lot of trouble. Yes.
Yeah. And what's really interesting is I know a lot of people who said, yeah, I'm going to give it a bash on Saturday morning. And like I said, we totted it up. And it was, I think, 30 people, just over, that I know were sat there that morning.
Yeah.
Not one of them successfully got a ticket.
Has got anything?
No.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, in playing the percentages, I would assume that a couple of them might have been lucky.
Yeah, you would think getting in early. Yeah. But no.
No, not at all. Absolute joke.
Do we think this is going to spoil the comeback a little bit?
It has tainted it a little bit. Yeah, I'll be honest.
It has it looks like it has to this point.
Yeah.
From the stuff I've seen online, people are
they're significantly less mad for it this week.
Yeah. Yes. Indeed. Yes. Yes. The enthusiasm for their return seems to have waned a little bit.
So yes. Well, so they've
because they obviously really needed the money. So.
Oh yeah. Utterly skint.
Yeah.
So they've announced a couple of Wembley dates in addition now, which are going to be basically names out of a hat. You can get a ticket if you read between the lines with Ticketmaster nowhere near it.
Yes. Okay.
That bit speaks volumes, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does, doesn't it? Yeah, you did a thing there. Oh dear.
So yeah, thought better touch on that because I'm sure some people might be interested whether they've got tickets, like because they probably wouldn't have either. So it's just nice to confirm. Going no. So far,
not a chance.
Everyone and their mum is out of luck for those tickets. I don't know who's actually got them. Some people online said they've got them, but it's like, well, I could say that I've got them on the internet.
Well, exactly. I mean, presumably somebody's managed to buy some tickets, but I guess it'll depend now what the Competition Commission's investigation finds, what the result of that will be, whether they'll bring a prosecution or whether it will just be a massive fine or what.
Yeah.
If it's found to be faulty or fraudulent, those two things can be different.
Yeah. I don't know. We'll see. It's just
we'll see. Yeah.
Vaguely relevant to what we were talking about last week.
You did make a bit of a thing of it. Yes, that's true.
Yeah.
It's a shame that it's been marred by those kind of goings on.
Yeah, I mean, I accept that it was very much in demand, and I can take it on the chin that there's no tickets. I'm not having a hissy fit about that. It's just the
you weren't convinced you were going to get one anyway. So
no, but it's just the way in which it was handled. Come on, awful.
Yeah.
Anyway,
well, potentially illegal, but we'll see.
Oh yeah, we can report back on the legalities of it. That's fine.
We'll see. Yes.
Become the podcast of choice for such things.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, really good.
Yeah, we're leading on that, I believe, number one.
So, yep, I'll take that.
Yeah.
So, cars.
We like those.
We do. I've got actual relevant to the man on the street news. That's popped up this week.
The man on the Clapham omnibus.
Well, quite.
Yes.
Published. I think it was today. Might have been yesterday. I can't remember. So, actually, I think it was yesterday now, or certainly when it popped up in my news feed. That we've got another big brand who has given up their plans to go full EV by 2030.
Oh, okay. I must admit I've not seen a great deal of news this week, so.
So what we've got is following suit of a couple of others that we've had recently. Volvo has said that they are giving up plans now to sell only EVs by 2030. Saying it's expecting to continue hybrid sales as well.
Okay, that's interesting. Given the group that they're a part of, that's interesting. Okay.
Yeah, that comes after the news relatively recently of Ford scaling back on their EV stuff as well.
Yes, and Volkswagen as well, I believe.
Yeah, I'm sure I read that. So,
although their EV offerings have been a bit crap, but we'll skim over that.
Yeah,
and of course they have other issues with diesel.
Yes, they've got their own.
They've got their own special issues. Yes,
that's it. They've got their own Ticketmaster scandal, if you will.
They have.
So Volvo are basically citing the change in market conditions, essentially saying the demand in EVs is slowing.
Yeah.
They're saying it's the demand in EVs is major markets, not just sort of edge cases. This is them saying that there's too much uncertainty.
Yeah.
They've got some trade tariffs as well that they're worried about.
Yes, well, that'll be significantly affected by who gets back in the White House in January. But yeah.
But yeah, they said just in general, a downturn in demand for full EVs, which, I mean, you kind of have to go. There really is. The numbers are there to back it up at the moment.
Yes. I think there's two things going on, really. One is governments are all over the place.
Oh yes.
With what they want. And I think everybody, as we've said before, I think everybody who was going to buy an EV has already bought one. Mm-hmm. And everybody left isn't going to. So that's that. I think it's quite simple. And
manufacturers now have gone, we still need to make a profit here.
Yeah, quite. There's still businesses. The government regulations don't make sense in a lot of places. Mm-hmm. And the consumer as well is looking at government regulations and looking at, how they could afford what are generally quite expensive cars, and looking at what the various manufacturers are offering, what finance deals, because that is how people buy cars these days, are available, and what insurance is like. That's got more and more difficult on EVs.
More expensive as well.
Well, that's what I mean. Yeah, more expensive and more difficult to get parts because they're not building the cars in the numbers.
That's the thing. It's that knock-on effect of going. It's just something that they want to be mass market is actually becoming a bit harder because you're blocked here, there, and everywhere, and it's just. The incentives are long gone. Your road tax is about to change.
Yes.
Your finance deals. I mean, people are becoming a bit more money savvy as time's getting a bit tighter and going, wow, this is dead money. You lease it and you're just dropping money each month. You don't.
Oh, you lease it.
You don't own a car at the end of it. But then you go, the other argument, you're going, all right, you go and do PCP, and then you go, good heavens, I now own it, and it's worth like 2/3 less than it was when I bought it.
That's the problem, isn't it? I mean, that wasn't a problem at the beginning because they were holding their values. I got stung a bit by that, by Tesla slashing their prices 2 years into me having mine. So, all right, I didn't make a loss on mine, but nor did I walk away with what I had planned to.
No, I mean, in fairness though, I bet you're glad you flogged it when you did, because
yes.
And now you would have been. Good God, it's not even worth thinking about.
No, it would have been horrific. I would have been paying for a car that was probably worth 1/3 of what I still owed on it at this point.
Awful.
I sold mine just before the prices collapsed. If I'd left it even another 2 or 3 months, I would have lost money. The price I got for mine, they're now, they're about 1/3 of what I got for mine when I sold it So I was able to clear my finance, walked away with a little bit, and all done. That would not be possible now.
No. Utter madness.
So yeah, it's I think there's a lot of factors at play here, but things have not gone in the battery electric direction. Well, I mean, they have to a point. You know, they have had good sales up to this point, but you know, for a new emerging product. But I think everyone who's gonna have one has got one. And which is why now the majority of sales are to the fleet market, where there are still some tax incentives for businesses to run them. And there are, you know, it does still make sense for some people, but it's quite a small majority at this point.
That's the
people
trouble.
Who tend to only do local journeys, people who can charge on their driveways. For them, absolutely. It still makes sense, but that's quite a small number of people, and it's beginning to make more sense actually to run an older car. And we've touched on this before, but I was reading a thing last week about how more and more younger people are buying classic cars. And running them as a daily car because the tax is cheaper. If you go old enough, they're MOT exempt. Parts are plentiful. You can go to any garage and they'll know how to fix it with a brick and a bit of string. It just makes the most sense. And I think that's borne out. If you look, even day to day, there are more and more older cars reappearing on the roads. I think that's partly because a lot of people haven't got a lot of money, and used car prices generally have come down again. From the madness of the last few years.
The COVID knock-on for used cars was insane.
We've seen a little bit of a market correction on that, and you know, even just the sort of stuff I look at on Auto Trader, which obviously I do on a weekly basis. You know, the prices have come crashing back down again to, you know, much more sensible levels. So I think there's a lot of things going on contributing to this, but you know, manufacturers have got to make what they can sell, haven't they? At the end of the day, regardless of what governments say.
They've got to react, haven't they? Because they still need to make money, and it's just, oh dear.
Governments are setting targets which are not commercially viable. That's and there's a problem there. But again, like we said, if it's just one or two manufacturers refusing to meet the guidelines, well, then they're going to, or the legislation, they're going to get screwed, and that's that. If it's all of them,
but that's the thing, isn't it?
That's a problem for the government, not the businesses.
Yeah, because now we're at the point where, like we were saying, we got Volvo here. We've got, you mentioned VW, Ford, GM,
and these aren't small players in the market.
No,
these are the giants of the industry. Admittedly, Ford's messaging and direction of travel has been somewhat confused for a while now.
It really has, but I mean, it doesn't stop people globally buying Fords, though, even if we don't agree with what they're doing.
No, of course, and it won't. No, because they're just one of those names, aren't they?
Yeah.
People will buy a Ford because people still trust it.
Yes.
And if you're not that bothered about what you have, which the vast majority of people aren't, I know that's hard for us to understand in our little bubble, but in our little petrol head bubble, but most people don't care as long as it does the job that they need it to do. And Ford is still a name that people trust.
Yeah.
And it's a safe choice. And to be fair, it probably is.
Oh dear.
So I think we're still in huge turmoil in the car industry. but it's lurching in different directions all the time, and we still don't really know where it's going to go. And on that subject,
segue,
I was reading this week that BMW are getting further into bed with Toyota, and will be producing a hydrogen fuel cell car as part of their range, not just a prototype or a one-off. It will be a proper. Now, they've been in bed with Toyota since 2019, working on hydrogen stuff. But now looks like they've looked at the market and said, yes, we're not sure what's happening here. We've obviously still got a range of piston cars.
Mm-hmm.
We've got some EVs in the range. We're not going to do away with those. They're still there. We've got some battery electrics. Well, let's stick a hydrogen in there and see how that goes. Now it's all Toyota technology underneath, but it's a BMW badged vehicle. Sadly, it is an SUV.
Well,
but that's
kind of knew it would be
sort of a given. It's based on the X5. It's going to be called the iX5 Hydrogen.
Catchy. Yeah.
That was originally unveiled in 2019, but it's now going to become a real thing.
Okay. Do you know what? Why not? Let's give it a whirl.
Give it a whirl. They can afford to give it a whirl. Obviously, not everybody can. They can afford to give it a whirl. They've got all three. Then they've got piston, battery electric, and hydrogen. And I think they're just saying, okay, let's be in all these. Let's have a foot in all these camps and see what happens.
So, but we obviously then immediately come back to the infrastructure issue.
Well, this is the problem with hydrogen, isn't it? Yes, you see, with battery electric, we've already got electric everywhere. We haven't got hydrogen everywhere, and hydrogen is really difficult to store and transport. So
it's not great. So let's have a look, shall we?
Is not many. In fact, the number of hydrogen filling stations in the UK has reduced over the last couple of years because people aren't using them. So we have had, it's actually gone down. We've removed some infrastructure.
Blimey. So I know, so below is the full list available to the public. Jesus. This is sad. I don't know why. I knew that the Honda one was there in Swindon.
Yes.
Which I know Honda essentially pulled out, but the hydrogen filling station is still available. So there's basically, but if we take across the board, there's 6 in the UK.
In the whole of the country.
Available to the UK, according to this article, which was relatively, this looks up to date. Well, the most up to date one I found is April 24. So we've got Swindon, Birmingham, London, Sheffield, and oddly 2 in Aberdeen.
Okay. There must be an MP who's got a hydrogen fuel cell car.
Yeah, something there.
It's not. That's the problem with it, isn't it? That's the problem with it. We don't have. See, that's where battery electric wins out, because we already have an electric infrastructure. And even in the furthest away from a proper charging station, you could still charge it off a 3-pin plug if you had to.
Yep.
You can't do that with hydrogen.
No. It's really difficult. But the thing of going, if you think about it more in the terms of going to a petrol station and fill your car up, which is essentially how these hydrogen ones work. So
very similar. Yeah.
It's roughly, I believe, 5 minutes to fill up a tank of hydrogen.
Yeah, it's very, very high pressure, isn't it? because you have to lock the pipe into the car. You have to, because otherwise it would fly off and you get hydrogen atoms all over you. So it's because that's how that works. It's very quick, but you do need more than 6 filling stations in the whole country.
So here you go. So here's an interesting one. They've called this out. So the Toyota Mirai, whatever it is, that has, in terms of its hydrogen tank, oh god, they're basically saying that is in the region of prices as they stood in April. Anyway, this article, that's about 50 quid for absolutely nothing to brimmed.
Okay, so it's probably a little bit cheaper than petrol or diesel.
Cheaper than petrol or diesel, bit more than. I mean, then it's difficult to say it's more than electric because it depends where you're getting your electric.
Exactly, very good point. Yes, it depends. It depends where you're getting it from. It varies massively from nothing at all to quite a lot.
If you get caught out at like some famous petrol stations who also have electric charging points, you're going, I'm sorry, how much is it to get a battery full?
I know the price per kilowatt is ludicrous. Conversely, if you're at home charging off your own solar, which a lot of people could do now, it's absolutely nothing. So the price differential is enormous for electric.
Yeah, it's difficult. I mean, hydrogen is much more comparable to petrol and diesel because of the way that you obtain it. Yeah,
and you're still running effectively an internal combustion type thing, aren't you? It's more akin to that in that you fill it up, run it till it's empty, and then fill it up again. You don't do that with a battery electric.
No.
It's not good for the battery, and that's just not how you use it.
No.
So what I don't mean the technology is the same as internal combustion.
No.
The experience of it is similar to internal combustion, so it's more familiar to people.
Which, if they could, if they could figure out the infrastructure, that would make it a much easier sell.
If they could figure out the infrastructure, because we're doing really well with charging stations, and we've already got electric everywhere. So,
yeah, that's.
But the trouble is relatively straightforward.
The trouble is they could do it now because we've established we've got 6 in the UK. But if someone jumped on it now before you get all the different rivals doing it, you could have this nailed.
You could if you could take a leaf out of Tesla's book, who obviously were the first to roll out mass, really fast, reliable electric charging stations. The supercharger network still is unrivaled. Really. If someone could do that for hydrogen, but it'll be a lot more expensive than what Tesla did with the superchargers, because we already had electric everywhere. All right, they've had to put in, I'm not minimizing what they did. They had to put in a lot of tech and step up and all sorts of things. It. But hydrogen is currently nowhere.
No, it's not as easy as, I mean, I know it's glorifying a little bit, but with the electric stuff, you go, just put a bigger cable down in the ground.
Well, yeah, like you say, we hate to oversimplify, but that's the bigger challenge actually with electric is been getting, planning permission to build the chargers, and permission to put them on the land, and doing deals with service stations. It's a far more logistical and financial challenge than it is technological. With
fucking red tape.
With hydrogen, especially in this country, with hydrogen, we don't have it. We don't have a hydrogen infrastructure. And hydrogen, as I said, is really difficult to store and really difficult to transport. And it's got a branding problem. I don't think people trust it.
No, they just think they're driving around in bombs.
Quite. not realizing actually that their internal combustion car is little explosions all the time. That's how it works.
Yeah.
But we won't get into
last
that.
time I checked, that petrol was a tad flammable as well.
A little bit flammable, yeah. It'll really go up if it's given the opportunity. But yeah, I understand BMW wanting to have a place in all markets, and they can afford to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
if only made their cars look a bit nicer. But I'm skeptical, and I remain skeptical, because it always has been skeptical, that hydrogen is a solution for passenger cars. I think it has applications. I think it has a lot of good applications for heavy goods transport, container ships, things like that, international jet travel, perhaps.
Yep.
But for passenger cars, I don't know. Heavy goods haulage, maybe. Although kind of battery electric is offering solutions there already, with battery swap stations and things. I think we're kind of getting there with that. Certainly the Tesla semi truck.
Oh dear! Wash your mouth out.
With its 650 miles range and the ability to swap the battery in whatever 3 minutes or whatever. We're kind of getting there with that. So I do think, as we've always said, you need a mix of solutions, and hydrogen should be part of that mix. I'm just not convinced it's right for passenger cars.
No, and you're probably right, but I mean, let's get the toes in the water. Let's have a bash.
As BMW are doing, Toyota are going all in with hydrogen rather than battery electric, even though they kind of kickstarted the battery electric thing with the Prius. They seem to all in with hydrogen. Funny, James May was talking about this. He recently appeared on the Smoking Tire podcast with Matt Farah, and he was saying that he's just, because he had a Mirai.
Yes, he did. Yeah.
Because he was trialing both. He had his Tesla Model S and he had his Toyota Mirai. He then chopped the Model S in for a Model 3, which he's still got. He's only just got. It's one of the latest Highland models. And he had a second Mirai, but he's just got rid of the Mirai because he did have a hydrogen filling station just down the road from his house, but they've taken it out. So he said, I've got no way to fuel the thing now within 300 miles of my house. So
there you go.
That is the end of the experiment, and battery electric has won. For him.
Well, it's fair.
Yeah, he said that I had no way of fueling it, so therefore it was useless. It had to go, and I'll stick with the Tesla because I can charge that anywhere. So, particularly in London.
Sport for choice, which is a really good test, because it's the, like, if you've got a hydrogen car and you go, I cannot fuel it in the nation's capital, then you go, right, well, that's buggered, isn't it?
Well, that's the experiment is done. The results are in. Hydrogen's law. And he said he really liked it. He said it was a really nice car to drive, but with no way to fuel it, what's the point? It's useless.
Yep.
So therefore, totally he's sticking with the Model 3 because that works. The Mirai didn't. So it's interesting to see how BMW get on with this, and I completely understand what they're doing. And they haven't had to develop the tech themselves. It's all bought in from Toyota. See, they've got a place everywhere depending on what happens. But not everyone can afford to do that, unfortunately.
No. Fair play to them. So we'll keep an eye on that.
We will. Yeah,
that's two just consumer pieces right there.
God, we're right on it here, aren't we?
Oh, right.
We'll writing in magazines next.
Oh yeah. So I tell you what, then. I mean, we can't have a full episode of just nothing but sensible. Should we go to the other end of the scale?
Oh yeah, let's do that.
Perfect. So I mean, you say the other end of the scale. I mean, it could be consumer advice, because we don't know what our listeners are yearning for at the moment in terms of new car purchases. However,
probably not a hydrogen powered BMW. I'm guessing.
You're assuming.
I
am. So we have basically the new flagship model from Aston Martin that has appeared this week. The new Vanquish.
Yes.
Right. Thoughts?
Well, allow me to just bring up a picture to remind myself.
Yes, please do.
Because, well, it's a new Aston Martin, which is never a bad thing.
No, that is fair comment.
Is never a bad thing, but I think it looks fantastic.
It does look really good. If I had to criticize it, they could have dialed the grille back a bit.
The grille is a bit, well, again, we've already mentioned James May once tonight. I'll mention him again. It's gopping, isn't it?
It is a big one.
It actually is gopping.
Yeah.
It looks like some sort of fish, but deep sea for those weird ones that look.
Hang on. Which one am I thinking of? The basking shark.
Oh, there you go. Yes, it does have an element of that. Yes.
Yeah, just swimming through the ocean with its mouth agape.
Yes, pulling in all the plankton.
Yeah.
I admit its rear end is its best angle.
Agreed.
But even though the grille is a bit ridiculous, I still think it looks fantastic.
Yeah, and I'm liking the press shots as well. We got the red car.
Yeah,
the bronze wheels, the tan interior, and going all of the yes. Do it
that
now.
Tan interior is very naughty. And I have to say on the European models, well, it'll be the same in certain states in America, but on European models, that massive grille is broken up a little bit by the number plate.
Very true. Yeah, so
it does help. For once, the number plate helps.
yeah. That's a really good shout. But you know what? God, nicely done on that one.
I'm very impressed with that. Yes.
Impressed with that. In terms of spec, we're talking 5.2 litre twin turbo V12.
I was
Tear your face off. 835 horsepower.
I thought we'd seen the last of the V12, but it seems not.
Well, no, I suppose it's turbocharged, so it's
because you need that.
Well, it's more making it more efficient on paper, so that it gets through the eco tests a bit easier.
Yeah. I think it's I think that's the best bit of design we've seen from them for quite a while.
Yeah, it's not. I tell you what, it's not miles away from the current range, but you look at it and go, God, they have done something different.
You can sort of see the evolution from the DB12.
Yeah. But you can see the muscular sort of design cues of V8 Vantage of sort of Dalton era. I'm talking.
Oh, the 80s, 90s. Yeah. Well, that was a body style that they rode for a long time.
Yeah.
In fact, from the 70s to the early noughties, I think that body shape was in production.
Yeah, essentially, yeah. So
basically unchanged, from the DBS all the way through. I know that's largely because they never have any money. So when they've got something that works, they've got to live with it. But it's, I think that's tremendous. I really do.
Yeah,
I think that's an improvement on what they've done of late. Yeah. There's a DB11 that's 3 or 4 houses down from us here where we live. And it's never garaged. It's always parked outside the house. And I quite often see it when I walk past to go down to the shop. And you look at it and you think, it's not. It's not.
Should be nice, but it's not quite there, is it?
It's not quite there. I'm not going to say it's ugly. It's just not quite there.
No.
It's slightly awkward. It's in a funny color as well. It's a very, very dark green.
Okay.
Very dark green. Darker than the On Her Majesty's Secret Service DBS green. Darker than that.
Which that in itself was quite dark.
That was quite dark. It's dark. In some lights it looks black, but it's not. It's a metallic dark green.
Okay.
Whether it was custom order or not, I don't know. But I think that's a chap we can get on with, because the other car parked outside that house is a Fiesta ST3.
Oh, yeah, he's one of us.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm thinking that's his and hers.
Well, it's a fair assumption, I'd say.
Yes. No, I think I think that looks tremendous. It does also, you were saying, harking back to the old V8 Vantage, it also does have some family resemblance to the DBX.
Oh dear.
Yeah, I was taking a risk saying that, but the back end and the grille do resemble the DBX. There is some family resemblance there. There's some cohesion across the range, is what I'm saying.
Is there? I mean,
what car designers call surfacing.
Oh dear. You've ruined that now, haven't you? I was rather enjoying it, and you get, it looks awfully like an SUV.
No, that's not what I'm saying.
Yeah, but that's how
I'm saying there is an SUV in the range, and they have created some family resemblance between the two. That's all I'm saying.
It just doesn't need to exist, that piece of shit. So, this is a very capable vehicle. Yeah, lots of power, 8-speed ZF gearbox.
I've got one of them.
You have?
I imagine it's a bit different in this.
Yeah, one. I think this one's tuned slightly differently, I would say, because they would reckon as they're saying that this is a top speed flat out in this thing. If you're going on your grand tour in a brand new Vanquish, you get yourself on an unrestricted road, 214 miles an hour in this.
Oh, that's naughty, isn't it?
Imagine, God, the noise,
Blimey.
The fuel bills, the noise. Yes.
Oh dear, the collections of small animals behind that grill.
In it and on it,
hoovering them up.
Oh my goodness, yes. What a thing! I tell you what.
Get to the hotel, you find a badger stuck to the front.
It's. Don't thinking about it. It is a wonderful, wonderful thing. I'm impressed. I am impressed. They've actually, looking at some pictures of it more close up here, they've actually made the grille look bigger than it is, because they've surrounded it with black, a black trim. Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah, it's actually from a little bit further back, it actually looks even bigger than it is, and it was pretty big anyway. But no, it doesn't put me off. I think that looks fantastic.
Yes, let's face it, it does.
Well done, them. Do we have any prices?
Ooh, let's ask.
Because we'll want to get, won't we?
Have we got a price? It's not been confirmed, but it's likely to start around £350,000.
Well,
you nearly went Australian on us there, didn't you?
I did.
God, truth, mate.
That's truth, mate. But this is not an Australian car, so it's not a long. No. It's not a long wheelbase Commodore, so we're okay.
It's also not. What was it? Opulent Velocity.
Oh, the Opulent Velocity. Oh, I thought we'd left that behind us. No, fortunately, it's not. Yes. A very stupid name. Wow. Well, there we go. One of those each then, I think.
Yeah. You know what? I'll have it in the red. Bollocks to it. Yeah.
I'll have it. Yeah, I think I will have it. I don't know what colour they're calling it. It's like a sort of bronzy, goldy colour.
Okay.
I'll have it in that because it's different.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Go on then. I'll allow it.
Yeah. Sorted then. We'll do that.
Yeah. God, blimey. Now, before we wrap it up, I think we should, as we've got Aston Martin in the forefront of our minds, I feel we should go near a story that we've not touched on in a little while.
Okay.
We had a couple of episodes that featured it, but we've had no follow-up because there hasn't really been much to follow up. And that is the news of Adrian Newey's departure from Red Bull and speculation of where he's off to.
We did talk about that. Yes, I remember. Yes.
Because that is a very important man in the world of not only Formula One, but car design in general.
And we need to know where he's going to land.
We do. The strong rumour was Ferrari, but it's looking less and less likely as time goes on. And the reason I've tied this into Aston Martin is because it looks like but it's being reported that he's actually accepted an offer at Aston.
He's coming home.
Can you imagine? I mean, yes, primarily he's going in to do Formula One type things.
Yeah. Yeah, but it won't stay with that, will it?
No, not with Captain Eyebrows at the helm. They'll want him fiddling with road cars, won't he?
Yes, he will.
Yeah. So the deal is expected to be announced, what we're saying, roughly this time next week, ahead of, I can't remember what Grand Prix it is next week. Baku, Azerbaijan.
Okay.
So, yeah, the rumours have really gained traction that it's going to be Aston, and we're going to find out next week.
Oh. Well, let's hope, that would be a great place for him to end up.
Yeah. Really cool.
Yeah. Pleased with that.
Yeah. So I thought that was worth reporting because it's, you know what, it's going to a team that's like, and they're doing all right, but they're not leading by any stretch. And you're going, this is one man who could genuinely make a difference.
He could sort that right out, couldn't he?
Yeah. And doing
Very
it in
good.
that brand, they could keep him happy and go, yeah, you can go, man. Do what you like with the road cars. Do something stupid. Get it on. Fill your boots.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yes, absolutely. I think, well, that could be fantastic. That's exciting. Very good.
Yeah. There you go. Look at that. That's motorsport news that you're genuinely excited about.
Let me bring us into land then.
Oh, go on
one
then.
Final item.
Oh dear. Stow your tray tables and such like.
Oh, upright position. This
Lovely.
will put you in an upright position, actually.
Oh no.
It's time to visit Crap Old Car Corner. And I was out and about this week.
Lovely.
In my Jaguar. And I saw two examples of what has become a very rare car on the same road.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Go on then.
Yeah. Two Peugeot 205s.
Two?
In
the same road and the same journey, you're saying?
Yes. Not related. Going in opposite. Well, one was parked. One was going the other way. And the one that was parked, it was on the K. And it was, so I don't know what year that is, but what would the K would be?
91, 92,
something like that. Yeah, it was red, looked like a fairly base model, quite rusty, but somebody got out of it and went into a shop, so it's being used.
It's in use. It's not just a breakdown. No,
it didn't look like it. I saw it pulled up, a lady got out, went into a shop, so it looked like daily use.
And just to be clear, the shop wasn't Halfords, was it?
No. No, I believe it was a pet shop.
Oh, okay.
So no, it wasn't a garage. There wasn't lots of smoke. So there was that, and then there was another one, also red. Again, not a tasty model. Looked like a fairly base model, but much tidier, on an H plate.
Lovely.
But two in the same place.
I mean, you'd have to go back to the 90s for that to happen.
That's a miscoding of the Matrix, I think.
Yes, yeah, we've got a deja vu moment there, haven't we?
I think they changed something whilst I went round the corner. Yes.
That's really cool.
That is really cool. I have seen, not on this journey, but recently, because I think I mentioned it to you, I have seen a GTI, a black one. I've seen it in the local Tesco's. But these two, bold as you like, not tasty models, just ordinary Boggo models.
Wonderful. Absolutely.
There it was.
Yeah.
On the K, though. That's fantastic. There can't be many of those still in daily use. No,
which is, I mean, caps must be doffed for that, really.
Oh yeah, that's a person we could do business with. But it's one of those cars. They were everywhere, and now they're nowhere.
Yeah, it's really
except
odd,
on that road, apparently.
Yeah, that sort of time travel road, that one. Yeah, it's really weird, isn't it? Because there was such commonplace street furniture, and it's just not a thing anymore.
Just gone, and there's so many like that.
Yeah, we take it for granted. It's like sometimes when you watch a film of a certain age and you go, bloody hell.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Do you know what? It's really good that I'm so glad that they never sort of followed on Life on Mars and Ashes to Ashes and did a 90s one, because I think that would just make me burst into tears.
We'd just break then.
Yeah, going, oh, it's not that long ago. Oh, shit, it is.
Yes, all those cars that we still regard as fairly modern are now all classics.
Nutty hell.
Like the new Mini now being 23 years old. The new Mini is now 23 years old.
Mind you, I suppose actually, because I don't know if it's a game that we've played or we've heard of. It's not one for now, but it's one to ponder. But if we're mentioning Ashes to Ashes and all that sort of caper, if they did a 90s one, would it? You don't have to answer now. You just have to think about it. But what's Gene Hunt? What's Gene Hunt driving?
Well, he had the brochure for a Merc 190E, didn't he, in the final episode?
Oh, in the final episode, I'm going to have to correct you. It was a 190D.
Oh, was it? Oh,
yeah.
I thought it was the Cosworth.
No,
was it not?
It was the D. Apparently, because a lot of people called him out on it, and they're like, God, that's the only brochure we could get.
Because the natural progression from the Quattro would have been the Cosworth.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So did they intend it to be a Cosworth, but they couldn't get a brochure?
I think that was the gist. But yeah, he had a.
Well, surely they could have photoshopped something. You only needed to look at the cover.
The brochure of a diesel. But no, we'll let him off. But yeah, that's one for us to.
Well, but that's not a 90s car, so we'll need. Right, I'm going to give that some proper thought. Yeah, okay.
Oh, what a lovely idea! What I tell you what, we don't. As strong finishes go.
That was tremendous. We haven't done a proper topic in a long time, so that's superb. Well done, sir.
You could sink your teeth right into that. Okay, yeah, all right. Yeah, before we say something stupid, let's finish it there. Answers on a postcard for everyone else's as well. And we'll see who's got the best one.
Oh yeah, I'm really looking forward to this now.
Don't worry, next week will rattle around soon enough, don't you worry.
Oh, tremendous. Well done. Well, I think that's probably enough of that for this week. Check us out on all the various social medias and things. Thank you very much for listening.